Our friend Chuck Todd, NBC's chief political analyst, who is suiting up for what is effectively your Super Bowl. Green Bay Packers, by the way, looking good.
We'll get there. Let's say big game this weekend.
We do. We got a big game for a lot of Americans coming up on Tuesday. So many folks already voting early, 60 million plus right now. More women, it turns out, than men in a lot of occasions. What does that behavior, this new sort of pattern, tell us?
I'm a little hesitant to even read too much into it. And why? 2020 was such a unique year with COVID, and people voted in so many different ways. Plus, you had the politicizing of how you vote was more so in 2020. Here's what I can tell you. More Democrats are going to vote on Election Day than they did in 2020, and more Republicans are voting early than they did in 2020. But if you try to read too many this is apples and blueberries. It's all fruit, but I'm just not sure there's anything to read into it.
Will we know the answer sooner, though?
But I will say this, that we will. I do think more people voting early means we should get more of the vote quicker, if you will. And I think in that sense, I'll give you a scenario where we won't find out for a long time. But if we're waiting at the East Coast states, we should know by Wednesday morning. Okay. I really believe that.
Let's lay out the path to that magic number of 270. Let's start with the vice president. How does she get there?
The simplest path for her is just winning these 3 blue wall states. Gets her right to 270. We're assuming she gets the Omaha district there. This means she doesn't have to win a single state in the Sun Belt. She could lose all 4 of those other states. She sits at 270. If he wins everything else, it would put him 2 electoral votes short. So that's the simplest path. But the tricky thing is, what happens if she loses Pennsylvania? So let's go ahead and give her those 2. But she loses Pennsylvania. We give that to President Trump. If he wins Georgia, which a lot of analysts believe, he's only 1 North Carolina away, and then he's done. This is his simplest path. He just wins Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. Again, we don't even have to wait for these West Coast counts, which will take a week to find out who's president.
So if she doesn't win Pennsylvania, she's got to pick up Nevada or
So if she doesn't win Pennsylvania, she's got to win either North Carolina or Georgia. Because from there, look where we have her. Then she just needs one other these West Coast states. So I've been telling people this. North Carolina and Pennsylvania. If one of them wins them both, game over. There's really no realistic path. But if they split it, that's when we know it could be along that. Especially if they split it the way I said. So she wins North Carolina. We could be living here in Nevada, waiting and waiting and waiting. And if you remember, Nevada will take a week to count all their votes.
Well, because they go 4 days after.
And you'll have more ballots coming in.
Yeah.
And then you're really going to be used a lot on air because this is going to be lawyers upon lawyers litigating which ballots can get fixed or cured is the language you'll start to see, those provisional ballots. So the nightmare scenario where we're just waiting for weeks, sort of the Florida of 2000, is this one where she wins either North Carolina or Georgia and he wins Pennsylvania, because then it makes these 2 states, probably Nevada, but either one of them, with their very long mail-in process that we've been waiting for ballots, we'll be waiting here for a week.
We're playing in the land of hypotheticals right now, but there is one scenario that you talk about where this thing really turns into a little bit of madness. 269 electoral votes each. How does that happen, and what happens then?
Well, the simplest way it would happen is if Donald Trump won that Nebraska electoral vote. See here, you've got her winning all the blue wall states and winning all those Sun Belt states, but if he wins that 1 Omaha district, we are sitting at this 269.
And then I got to brush off my knowledge of the 12th Amendment.
We go to the House, and it is 1 vote per congressional district. So, for instance, if this is a swing, Alaska has 1 member of Congress, 1 member of the House. Right now, it's a Democratic member of the House. It is one of the closest House races in the country. We'll be waiting for that result. So if we're sitting in a 269 tie, we're going to be wondering, because Mary Patola's 1 vote will determine whether she votes for it's a Democratic delegation or Republican delegation. It is 1 vote. California will have 1 vote. Alaska will have 1 vote.
Wow.
That's I guess that would be the triple nightmare scenario. Yeah. If we do this. By the way, this is a flaw.
Incredibly
that
rare.
Should be fixed in the Constitution.
I think
it
Americans
is ridiculous.
all agree. We hope this is not where this thing ends up.
It's way too easy for it to happen. There is another scenario that actually happened where she does carry the Omaha district. This is not that far-fetched. He carries Pennsylvania and Georgia. She carries North Carolina, Wisconsin, but he also carries Michigan, and then she carries Arizona and Nevada. It's the These are not these aren't 1% possibilities here. There are 2 realistic ways we could have this 269.
We'll figure it out soon.
Sorry, America.
Maybe later than
luck.
sooner, but soon enough. Chuck,
Yes.
appreciate you very much.
Get some rest this weekend.